So, as a quick recap of last time, Bryn and Gunther, two nobles from, well, and we got some, well, I got some setting stuff a bit confused last time. So we are currently in the duchy called Verdorben, and specifically in this hinterland village of Hocken. And there's another village close by called Mecklenburg, and then the capital, which is to say the castle, is not Mecklenburg. Mecklenburg is another small village right there. So that's what I got wrong last time. So anyway, we are in the hinterland village of Hocken, and Bryn and Gunther here have come at the bidding of the Duke Verdorben, or rather the Duke's what's it called, the bailiff, has appointed you to come to Hocken to find out if there's any truth to these disturbing rumors that have come, trickled out from the area in the dead of winter, basically. There was speak of, famine and disturbing rumors of infernal dealings going about. Yeah. You met with the village headman, Martin Rayla, who welcomed you to the village reluctantly. You toured the grounds, tried to see what was going on. The village very much not appreciative of outsiders. Reminiscing of perhaps relatives not currently present, but that have some ties to the place, Hocken. Eventually, it was decided that you would go and talk to the lord of this place, called Stravit. And you determined that it would not be proper to go and disturb the lord late in the day, and you decided that you would stay at the headsman's house by his invitation, and eating his food for the night, and continue on with your task in the morning. However, the village, stirred up by the village smith, Angar, they basically got a lynch mob together, and they accosted you at the headsman's house. You were spared a quick quick lynching and beating by Bryn's magics, deterring the villagers long enough for you to get your bearings, and for Gunther to browbeat these peasants, not into submission, but from like disabusing them of the idea that it would be a good idea to sacrifice the both of you to some sort of goddess to ensure a good harvest come summer. And that's when outside with the mob and Gunther having it off with words, you were all attacked by a demoniac bear. Basically, it was determined a zombified bear, almost. A big black bear with half of its face missing, bone showing, black slobber streaming out the mouth, roaring, sending everyone into a panic. It turned into chaos in the village. The angry villagers running this way and that in panic, and Gunther, dealing with his fear in the way that he knows as a glory hound knight, charged the bear head on, suppressing his fear with, some would say, maybe mad courage, and had it off with the bear. Not being able to beat it back with his sword, he resorted to having a brawl with the bear, which he lost. But the bear left him in the snow, his breastplate, the one that he got on halfway when the peasants started knocking the door down at the headsman's house. The bear mauled the breastplate of Gunther instead of the man himself, and the bear caused some more damage, tearing a house down, killing a bunch of the villagers before it headed off. And all this was lit by Bryn's brilliant magical light that she used to awe and dazzle the villagers as well, supporting Gunther's efforts at dealing with them. And Bryn and Gunther, in the aftermath of the chaos, have continued admonishing the villagers for the kind of behavior that they have exhibited, intending to sacrifice. Just straight out, they have stated that they intended to sacrifice you, and you've admonished them, made sure that they understand that you are nobles and that will not be happening by any means, and that is not acceptable behavior. And you have underlined the fact that you are merciful because you have defended them against this bear, and you are being merciful by not acting against them. And all of this has been going on for a little bit after the bear left, and everyone kind of settled down. It's still like everyone's all unsettled because the bear is a frightening thing, and people are on edge. Some of them are in hysterics, just like broken down somewhere in the kind of devastated village. There's not a lot left of this village to begin with. There is a sound of a sleigh approaching. A large sleigh drawn by 4 draft horses, which is a sign of quite a bit of wealth in these parts, having these many horses in good condition as well. There is a man and a boy on the sled. There's room for plenty more, but only these 2 are on board. I will show you pictures on Roll20. So there's the picture of the driver. He's dressed in his winter clothes because it's the dead of winter, as mentioned before. And there is the boy swaddled in a winter blanket on the front seat in the sleigh. And this sleigh pulls up. The man introduces himself as Tomaj, and let me guess. Sorry, by the way, I've had a bit of a day, so my prep isn't the most sharp. But the man pulls in with the sleigh, and he says, "Greetings, my lord and lady." And it looks about at the devastation, new devastation anyway, wrecked in the village, and the various dismembered people and the general chaos, and focuses his gaze on you two.
I imagine I'll have, in the aftermath of the sort of bear attack, I'll have sort of moved over to Gunther, just sort of like offering putting his arm around my shoulder, just to like steady him. Obviously, I've seen he's had this like breastplate torn off him, and I saw that obvious like evil sorceress like creature just like attacking him savagely. So I'm just going to sort of like put his arm around my neck to sort of like support him a little bit with my body, and then I'll have been saying, my Lord Gunther, I really do appreciate your bravery, but we're dealing with creatures and magics here that mere steel will not avail us against. Please, I beg you, try and temper your lust for glory and battle. I would not want to see you fall needlessly against such a creature.
Yeah. Gunther has your chest is kind of sore. It's nothing you can't deal with, but you definitely feel the bruise from the blow.
Squished ribs.
Yeah, but it's nothing. It doesn't disturb you, but you feel the sort of constant hum of having bruised your chest.
I've
or
stared
the
down
bear
worse
having.
things than this.
Yeah. This is no like this. This reminds you of when you were training, and your I suppose your knight when you were like squiring, when the knight training you would like do a shield bash, and he'd get you into chest, and you would be on your ass in the ground. This reminds you of that.
You would quickly realise that you have to be quick on the heels to stop that kind of shenanigans.
But the Tomaj draws up in his sleigh and says, "My lord and lady, word of this has reached my master, the lord of this domain. He wishes to invite you to his manor. Please come with." And he like gestures towards the ample room on the sleigh.
You are one of Lord Stravit's men.
Indeed, I am Tomasz, the forester.
Why is his men not in this village? Why is there no patrols? Why is a large and seemingly dead bear allowed to stroll in here and attack these people?
Please, my Lord Gunther. These are all good questions, and like I say, I'm studying them as I'm saying this stuff.
These people are hungry. My people. I came from this place.
My Lord, peace, please. I pray you. These are all excellent questions that we can ask the Lord. However, we must not shirk his hospitality and keep these people, these poor people, waiting out in the snow. I will arrange for the rest of your equipment to be brought out to us, please. And I'll turn to Tomasz and I say, please, my lord Gunther has been hurt and shocked defending this village.
It's only a flesh wound. I will be fine.
He's a brave man, but all men must behave the same way when they take injuries. Please, if you would be so kind as to help my lord onto the cart, we would graciously accept your lord's invitation.
Yep.
Tomasz. That's right.
Yep.
I turn to Bryn and I look at Bryn and I turn back to the forester. It says, I will of course answer the Lord's summons, as is his right. But you and his men will answer to me. For I come from the Duke and bring the Duke's justice here. This place should have been protected.
Are you intending to affect him in any way, or are you just stating?
More of a statement of intent.
Yeah. All right. So he nods and basically says, "Very well, my lord," like many times as you as you give him the speech, and he dismounts and gets Bryn and himself to get you on board.
So I want him to hear it, and I want the people to hear it, that I am here for them as much as I am for my father, as much as I am for the Duke. And I'm just faced on a bear, so the adrenaline's pretty high. I'm still like hyped up on adrenaline.
So whilst Tomasz is trying to like wrestle him into the trying to wrestle him into the cart of the sleigh. Sorry, what I'm doing is whilst like my sort of whispered words are being covered by the noise of like him shouting and like being like got into this cart, I'm going to turn round and I want to. I'm assuming is there a way that I can sort of arrange myself so I can look through the like smashed door of the Adjun's house?
You could go to the house if you wanted to.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to arrange it so I can see through the door, so I can like see the kit that we've got lying on the floor, and I'm going to cast Spirit Servant to just like bring Gunther's gear.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
But like I say, I'm sort of whispering. I'm going to go like that so it looks as though I'm praying, and I'm going to whisper the incantation with my head lowered in the hope that they'll think I'm praying, and also the noise of like Gunther going, "This village should have been protected," will like come around.
Yeah. Let's see. Spirit Servant. It's at the bottom of the first page.
It says a ghostly presence forms and shadows a sorcerer. It's Ob 3.
Yeah. Ob 3. Yep. Okay. There we go. Okay. So sorcery and Ob 3.
I'm gonna give that a go. Boom, 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 boom. Sorcery. No modifiers. No Arthur. Base obstacle 3.
Yep. There we go.
Okay, so that was a difficult.
Yeah, that was a difficult.
So I'll take that up by 1. Okay, yeah. So as like I say, it's an invisible presence. So as I finish casting that, it'll basically just be like whatever little bits of our gear and like the remains of Gunther's armor like come like floated out and like up to the cart and like into the cart next to us.
I'm going to make a roll for the villagers, because if they see a backpack floating, they might not enjoy that.
To be fair, I've passed the point where I'm worried about what the villagers are injuring.
Yeah, they kind of don't.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah, they're not like on the same wavelength.
No,
There's some communication issues.
Yeah.
Let's see. I will roll their steel to see if they are going to be surprised and or horrified by this. So. I guess they would be, because yeah, you send the whole rest of them fleeing. They like pile into one of the what's it called, the long hall. So everyone piles into the long hall as they see Gunther's stuff floating out of the headsman's doorless house.
Part of Bryn is a little bit glad about that, because I was almost hoping they would see this and they'd react this way, because like, the last thing we need is like another spontaneous lynch mob forming.
Yeah, they pile in. Angar the smith is like the last at the door, and he closes the door and like stares death at Bryn as he does.
Okay.
There's like a unspoken promise of you will pay for this.
Okay, so as he's like looking at me, he's giving me like the stink eye, basically. I'm going to turn towards him, and obviously pulling myself up to like my full height, to like puffing my chest out a little bit. I'm just going to look at him, and I'm just going to say, never forget that we are your betters, and we know better than you, for we are nobles.
Yep, the door closes. All right, so you have Gunther's stuff, and we proceed on with the sleigh ride. The driver, Tomasz, the forester, doesn't really say anything. He's focused on the sleigh. The travel takes you from the village itself to Manor Stravit, which is some distance away, not a lot, but it's not in the village. That would not be proper for a country lord. It's not fitting for him to live among peasants. So he has a manor house away from the village, and the way there goes through a silent forest, one the likes of which you have seen on your way here multiple times. The woods are silent. It's nighttime. It's winter. Not a lot of animals about. No birds twittering about in this time of day, and the sleigh glides through banks of snow. There's some ice.
Okay. As it's dark, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically set my staff at like an angle, so it's sort of like poking a bit out over the side of like on one of the corners of the sleigh. And then I'm going to place my hand on it, and I'm going to call the weird light into my staff. So effectively, it'll be acting as a light for the sleigh, unless the sleigh already has lights.
I think there's like a lantern there for him, because he needed light to like come to the village.
That's fine. In which case, I'll leave it.
The thing that I forgot was we need to roll your tax for your.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Spirit servant. Yep. So fort and op 3, because that's what the spell op was.
Okay. Now, if I, because I'm making this roll, do I also get to add like a dot to?
Yeah, for fort, yes.
Okay, cool. So op 3, there we go.
Oof.
No!
Oof.
I feel the magic leaving me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Let's consult Ye Tome
Sweet.
to make sure I get this right. Because last time it was a little bit like more simple because the failure wasn't that big.
Yeah.
Here we go. Right. So if you fail the test, temporarily subtract the margin of failure, so 2, from your fort, which there's already 1 tax on your fort.
Yep.
So 3 tax now.
3 tax. Yeah, done.
Yep.
So as obviously it's taken like a little while for that to like sink in, and I've been sat on the card. So Gunter might notice that as I'm sat there, I've like pulled my my sort of like fur-lined like robes around myself, and like I look a bit pale, even when you take into account the cold. And I'm sort of sat there. I've been all right with the cold previously, you know, we togged up, but now I look like the cold's really starting to get to me. I'm like pulling my robes up around myself, like pulling my hood up as much as I can, and sort of sat there like shivering a little bit, like trying to keep myself warm, like shrinking back into the corner of the sleigh a little bit. If there's any like blankets or anything, I've like pulled them over me.
Yeah, there's bound to be like a couple of like hides.
Yeah.
Some animal.
So I'll have sort of shrunk down, but then I like pulled one over myself and like.
Gunter, who's normally quite an empathic young nobleman, and obviously cares about Bryn a great deal, even though she's somewhat odd. He doesn't notice any of this because he's pensively looking left and right in the winter snow for any signs of strange wildlife like we saw in the town. Is the bearer one off, or is the rest of the creatures here alive?
You don't see a lot or hear a lot, like I said before. You don't see hear like any birds, no nighttime hooting about.
But would you if they're dead?
But
would you if they were dead?
Yeah, that's a question for a necromancer, I think. We shall ask if we meet one.
What are the chances?
Yeah, we discovered last time that Guthrung, the mentor of Bryn's uncle, who Bryn knows to be a dark sorcerer, Guthrung used to hang around Håkon some like long time ago, at least. So we have established that much in the previous session. Okay, so Bryn is feeling the burden of channeling the eldritch forces, and Gunther is being on the lookout for anything off in the forest while we travel, and nothing much like sticks out to you. It's a majestic, silent winter forest. And
kind of beautiful if I hadn't just
yes,
thought
yes, it is. It is quite beautiful. These forests are not tame in any way. This is far from the more populous areas. So,
do I have enough space on this sled of doom to put on my armor? The rest of it.
Yeah, if you want to clank about, yeah, you can. You can.
Yes, because we're going to meet the Lord, and I'm going to look my best
for
whatever is coming.
Oh, speaking of that, can I just? I'm just checking. How long does my unseen servant last for?
It is sustained, so you determine that. Let me get the rules for that.
Because I'm wondering, basically, can I use it to like help Gunter put his armor on, so like a bit more quickly?
Yeah, definitely.
So I imagine like he's like strapping on like his arm plate, like looks down, and like his greaves have already been like buckled onto his legs.
So sustained. To sustain a spell once cast, the player sets aside 1 will die to represent the spell. Okay. As long as the sorcerer is sustaining that spell, the will die may not be used for any other will function. May maintain as many spells as his will -1. Must leave the last die. Yeah. So while sustaining a spell, a sorcerer may fight, jump, play, talk, argue, read, study, think, and cast spells.
Okay, cool.
And you may not do these things: panic, be hurt, fall down, fail a tax test, completely lose control of a particular spell, go to sleep, or otherwise lose consciousness.
Well, I have failed a tax test anyway, so.
Yeah, this is for like if you cast another spell now.
Oh right, okay.
Then like yeah.
Well,
so
I was going to say like just for flavour, basically, I'll use the unseen servant to like help him, like to explain like why like the tax has only just kicked in. I'll use the unseen servant to like help Gunter put his armour on, but then perhaps like the strain of like keeping like the spell going for so long has sort of like is why the tax has only just now kicked in. So as he's like finishing put his armour on, I'll like end that spell, and that'll be when I'm sort of like really like shrinking back into the corner.
Yep. So there's a cost to maintaining a sustained spell for a long time. So this is called the power still flows through him. While sustaining a spell, the sorcerer must retest for tax. The time between tests is equal to his current fort, minus the spell obstacle in hours. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, you get Gunter's armor on during the sleigh ride. You end the spell, and you arrive eventually after traversing through these majestic winter woods, primeval woods even.
Does this game have like an exhaustion mechanic or like a
not like an explicitly exhaustion, but there's the fort thing which Bryn is rolling to like manage the burden of using eldritch power.
Did
which
we get enough sleep to be considered healthy?
Yeah, there's all of these things will be coming into question if you cannot sleep, if you're trekking through like let's say like waist high snow all night in your armor. We're gonna have to talk.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how do I like remove the tax that I've got? Does that just happen over time or sleep? Cool.
Sleep, basically.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to check the rate, but it might just be like you get it all back if you sleep.
What's that? I wouldn't worry about checking it until I'm actually sleeping. Yeah, it's not gonna matter till then, is it?
Yeah, but it's not
unless you want a power nap on the sleigh.
Yeah. Cool.
You are safe in my presence.
Yeah, because you will charge a demon bear.
Yeah, that's
what it takes.
That's why I'm not sleeping, because I'm worried that you're going to charge at some horrible thing and get yourself killed.
I survived on my wits.
Yeah, I survived.
Yeah.
Okay, so you travel through the forest and you end up at the manor house, and there's a picture for this in Roll20 coming up now. So that's the outside of Manor Stravit.
What kind of? It's quite dark, isn't it? Still.
Yes, it's nighttime.
It's super night. Does it look particularly in good condition from initial?
No. It looks kind of like it does in the picture. There's some like dead vines.
Is possibly this the root of the town's problems? Is it here, the Lord's Manor?
It's disheveled, to say the least. The grounds are not too well managed. Tomáš pulls in, and Lukáš like runs off into the house, like opens the door for you, and Tomáš offers to carry Gunter's stuff because he saw that you had some carry-on luggage, so he offers to carry that for you because he can see that you're hurt, and he has been told so by Bryn. And Gunter, Tomáš like chauffeurs you in the front doors, and let's see, I have a floor plan for this as well, so we're gonna change in Roll20. Whoop! So this is the main floor. It should be visible to you now. Let me know if it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. Coolio. Okay, so this is the Manor Stravit. So you come in through the front doors and you enter the foyer. There are two grand staircases that lead up to the upper floor, and two fairly large doors here leading to the dining room, through which Tomáš shows you and basically seats you down in the dining room.
Mm-hmm. Does he have anything warm to drink, perhaps?
Yes. One moment. I will tell Lukasz to bring you something to drink. I will be preparing the food momentarily, and then once we serve, his lordship will be joining you here, and my son Lukasz will be serving you the fare tonight, and express your wishes to him if you have any when he brings you the food. I will see what we can do in the kitchen.
We thank you for your service.
Very good. And he takes off his winter hat and puts it under his arm and says, "Welcome to Manor Stravit. Please make yourself comfortable. I will be in the kitchen." And he starts unbuttoning his winter coat and goes off into the kitchen.
Gunther doesn't respond to that. He sort of gives them he looks upon them for things and kind of sort of takes them in and wordlessly goes to the fire. I'm guessing there's a fire in the dining room.
Yes.
And starts taking off his gloves to warm his hands for the fire. And
yeah, these things are fireplaces.
So yeah, I'll take up a position by the other one. So like looking across at Gunther as I'm like warming myself by the fire.
This is not the homecoming I expected, Bryn.
No, but there's clearly something amiss here. But we must remember, Lord Gunther, that we are in the home of a noble alike to ourselves. We must adhere to etiquette and to protocol while we are here, despite any suspicions that.
Of course, we should know better. We are well trained in this, and we know our place. But I am angry. These people are desperate, Bryn. These people are willing to attack a noble sorceress, no less.
Your anger does you credit, my lord. The concern that you have for these people, your people, is obvious. But with any luck, we will find out more about what is ailing these people and be able to do more to help them once we have spoken to Lord Stravit.
What is the point of being a leader if you can't take care of the people under your charge? That's what I was taught.
I counsel caution, my lord. We do not yet know the full situation. There may be other factors that have prevented Lord Stravit from protecting his people that we know nothing about. We should not be hasty to rush to judgment until we have heard what he has to say.
No, you are right, Bryn. Right, but I've recently just been in combat with a bear, which did not breathe.
I'm aware, my lord. I was there.
As I sort of tenderly just squeeze my chest a little bit, test the bruising.
Please, my lord, please sit. And after your ordeal, please rest yourself here. The fire will warm the room as well if we sit, and we should be ready to receive the Lord when he arrives. After all, he is laying on a meal for us. It would only be right for us to politely sit and engage in civil conversation and partake of the food he has kindly offered us. And I'll sort of sit down myself in one of the chairs.
Just as a quick question, Hans, as well. I'm guessing my dog is still with me as well.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Hans.
He did not.
But,
Hans was useless after the point he did one job to accomplish last session.
Yeah, but he was living his best life.
He was.
He had a bone. He had a warm place to lay down and fort. He was on a good time.
He let me down.
But yeah, there was plenty of room on the sled for Hans.
Right,
so
cool.
Hans can be here.
Cool, yeah.
Faux show.
I just thought I'd bring it up because obviously Gunther would look after his charge, as he just spoke about the villagers.
Yep.
It does concern me, Bryn. It does concern me.
Please sit yourself, my lord.
If this is the state of the Lord's manor, even I have much respect for those in positions above me and below. This place is not. It's not in good repair. What is my father's estate going to be like if this is the prime estate in this land? What's happened here?
Obviously,
Cue well lit kind of portrait with him sat there pensive.
Gunther's obviously mentioned his father's estate. Would I know anything about his father's estate? I'm trying to think of something that I could use to comfort him that'll apply particularly to him.
if you want to, you can use your family secrets wise for this sort of thing. Wises have two different kinds of uses. If you want to make a statement and have that statement be true, that's one thing. If you just wanna like ask me about stuff, that's also possible.
Okay, so I'm gonna come up with a fact if I can, and what my aim of making this roll is I want to recall like a triumphant battle that Gunther's father won against some sort of like serpent or some sort of great beast, so that basically I can say to Gunther, and buoy him up and be like, your father would have been proud of like how you stood up to defend those helpless people. Think back of the great story when he fought the great beast of Carnagan.
And if you're using family secrets wise for this, and you don't need to, I just like suggested that because that's the skill you have. Why is it a secret?
Okay.
What's the shameful part of it, or why have they suppressed this?
Okay, I'm going to say that the shameful secret about it was that in some way, which I'm quite happy to leave to like Matthew or yourself to decide, that it was some action of his father that sort of roused the beast in the first place. So even though he actually did go forward and like bravely fight it to like defend the villagers, part of him spurring him on was like the shame that he'd somehow contributed to the beast's appearance in the first place. So he felt it was his responsibility, much as in the same way Gunther feels it's his responsibility to help these people because they're his people.
It could be just as simply as like they delved too deep in the ground for gold or silver and then awoke this.
Yeah, I was thinking they were like expanding his like manor or something into like the local wilderness, like clearing the land, etc. And they didn't know that this like serpent, this beast, sort of laired in the area. So as they were clearing the land, that sort of roused the beast into anger and it started attacking people. And that's when Gunther's father's like sallied forth and like dealt with it. So let me make my
Okay. I'm gonna say. Where is my... there we go. So, I think that's probably not... because this isn't about like court gossip or anything of that nature. This isn't super like flammable as far as that goes. So I think the detail of like it's known that Gunther's father killed the beast, this serpent creature. But what people don't know is that the fact that Gunther's father wanted the land actually drove the serpent beast out to kill some like farmers. That's not like known, but the fact that there was this serpent and it was killed, that's common knowledge. So I'm gonna say like this particular detail. Let's go with Ob 2.
Okay. Nope.
Oof. Oof. Well, and this is the thing, Matthew. Do you have an idea for this? Like why? Like what would be the reality of it?
Unless he messed up pretty bad. Is he okay?
Yeah, because this isn't like Bryn didn't get it. So why is this not accurate? It could be that there's no shame, or it could be far worse than what Bryn has heard. So maybe one of your relatives, I don't know, they were cursed by a passing witch and they turned into a serpent creature or something like that.
So I'll start off by like, as I'm making the roll, I'll sort of put my hand on your arm, Gunther, and I say, my lord, we must remember that sometimes we do things not appreciating their consequences or the dangers they pose for other people, but we can still gain redemption and we can still help those we need to. Think of when your own father faced the anger of the serpent of Carnagan and the farmers that were slain, and yet he, despite the danger, he rode forth bravely and cast that beast down and defended those villagers.
He just kind of like sighs and looks up at him. That's not exactly how the story goes. If you were there, tell it. That snake creature used to be someone that my father knew. It was his best friend who had taken upon himself to take a burden that my father had caused, an affront to some cult or something. I don't know, they're more your kind of matters of witchcraft and demonic beasts. And my father had to cut down his best friend. He lost twice. But thank you for trying.
I squeeze his arm gently and I say, I'm sorry, I didn't wish to bring back painful memories for you.
Sometimes there's only hard choices.
Indeed, but you must remember your father, although he lost greatly, lives were saved. That's what you need to hold on to, my friend.
Okay, so what will the lords think of me when I return? Give them this. This is not what I expected to find.
And at that, the kitchen door opens and Lukash, the boy, comes in to set the food. Mm-hmm. So you get a bread plate. It basically just a slice of bread each. They set a third place at the head of the table for Stravit himself. And the main fare, as it comes in, it's a bowl of soup, root vegetables, game, and fowl, basically. So probably something that Tomasz, the forester, has hunted.
Okay, I'm going to very deliberately sort of wait until the Lord comes in and he's seated himself down before I tuck in. I don't want to seem rude to the Lord, so I'm going to accept his hospitality, but I'm not going to proceed until he arrives.
Mm-hmm. And
Gunter's probably deep in his own thoughts, so he's not really paying attention until the Lord arrives.
Yep, and he does. So the big doors here were left open after you, and Lord Stravit walks in after Lukash has rang like a bell to signify that like dinner has been set. So Lukash rings the bell. Eventually, Lord Stravit emerges from the big doors here, and there's a picture for you in roll 20. So Lord Stravit strides in. He's dressed in his lordly finery, as you can see. Immaculate moustache.
Just a quick question: was he the Lord when I grew up in the town? Is he?
Yes.
Right. Okay,
yes.
So I might recognize him.
Yeah. You do, and you've seen him at court. He hasn't been there for a couple of years now, but you've seen him at court. So he walks in, like bows his head towards both of you, and he says, "You are welcome to my manor, Lady
Bryn, your lordship."
Pardon me, I have been somewhat absent at court recently. Gunter, I do recognize, though.
Hello.
Or Sir Gunter, is it now?
A full
knight?
I've had the privilege to be given such a position, yes.
Wonderful. But I will not hold you. The hour is late. I am sure you are as famished as I am. And he takes a seat at the head of the table.
Thank you for your hospitality and for inviting us into your home, my lord.
It is the very least I can do. Ah, and he finds his soup spoon, and because he realizes that you're probably waiting on him, so he starts with the soup.
Yeah. Once he starts eating, I'll be trying to be sort of a little bit dainty with it because I want to give a good impression, obviously, to Lord Stravit. But I'll be sort of tempering that with the fact that like I am well hungry, so I'll be trying to sort of daintily like shovel as much into my face as I can.
I eat mechanically, like I'm thinking like intensely, like just the brain's doing something else while the body's.
You're staring out the window. By the way, he has windows here. Like these are all glass windows.
That's quite fancy.
Yeah, he got the dough. But he's a lord, so he can collect taxes and whatnot. So he has the money.
I'm guessing it's not in great repair.
No, it's like it's not like a ruin, but it's showing wear and tear. The house.
A lack of care.
Yep. So as you eat, Lukash comes by with a decanter, serves you red wine. If you want to partake.
Yeah, I will. I will take like a small sort of measure, because I don't want to get drunk and disgrace myself, but I also don't want to seem like I'm spurning his hospitality. So I'll let him pour a little bit in, and then I'll just sort of like politely sort of go.
Considering I feel like I've been stepped on by a giant, I will take a swill.
Full measure.
Ease the pain.
Lukash serves the wine. You dig into the bread and the soup. The bread is pretty good. The soup kind of bland, but like if you like the gamey bits, like there's that. But otherwise, it's root vegetables and some meat, and no seasoning. So it's fairly bland fare. But still, it's meat, and you don't get a lot of that.
And it's warm.
Yeah, and it is warm. But however, the wine, excellent. The Lord Stravit here has probably spent quite a fortune on his wines, if this is any indication that what he's serving you right now. Wonderful, wonderful wine. The soup is bland. The bread is okay.
I'll again, I'm trying to make a bit of conversation, trying to sort of ingratiate myself. I'll take like a delicate little sip of the wine, and I'll say, thank you again, your lordship. This seems an excellent vintage.
Oh, yes. It is one of the hobbies that have stuck with me through most of my life. I am not a vintner myself, but I do like a wide selection of wines, and I make it a point of pride to serve the very best for such guests as I receive these days. Not a lot. This brings light to my evening, I suppose. And he raises his own glass and says, to new acquaintances and hopefully long time friends.
Indeed, to new acquaintances and to the restoring of old friendships.
Yep. He drinks. So, Tomasz tells me that you've been to the village. One of them anyway. There was an altercation, I believe, in Håkon earlier today.
The citizenry were uncooperative.
As is the way of peasants.
Mainly from a viewpoint of desperation and hunger, it would seem.
It is a harsh winter.
Indeed, there seemed to be much damage inflicted to the many homes within the village, and there seemed to be but scant peasants to maintain the village. I trust all is well.
Regrettably, I would have to refer you to the headsman for the state of the village. do not manage it directly, as you would
We
you
did
would know.
we did speak to the headsman, my lord. You'll forgive me for saying, and I certainly don't wish to land the man in any trouble. For all that he is a lesser born, he did offer us what a hospitality he could. However, he seemed most keen that our stay in their village be short.
Common folk do not enjoy us to the full extent that I would have them do so. But it is, I suppose, our burden, and in time, I suppose you will also come to realize this, that gratefulness does not come easy to the lower castes.
Quite.
And, well, I will have to perhaps send Tomasz here, talk to the headsman about the sort of hospitality that I would prefer we extend here in my lands.
Indeed.
To visiting dignitaries such as yourself.
So as he's finished saying that, I'm going to be nodding in all the appropriate places. Then I'm going to say something. And as I sort of finish it, I'm going to be lifting my wine glass to my lips as I say the last words. But I'm going to be keeping my eyes on him, looking for any sort of signs of recognition. And I'm going to say, yes, I also I've heard a rumour as we travelled. It may not be true, as I'm sure you'll know. The lower classes are given to such rumours, often based at us. But I've heard of a greater practitioner of certain forbidden arts may be present in this area. A man by the name of Gutterung.
Yep. So let's do a roll here, as you're trying to get a beat on him. I think we were using perception last time for this sort of thing. So let's, for consistency's sake, let's continue with that. So perception, and then let's see. We're just gonna pick difficulty for this. Let's go with 3.
Okay, base obstacle 3.
Yep. He raises a brow, which he probably means to indicate surprise, but you think he's probably recognizing the name.
Yeah.
But he's trying to, because it's not something you cop to.
No, quite.
But you think he definitely recognizes the name, and he says, yes, the rumors going about regarding all manner of, well, practitioners of foul arts, they do sometimes crop up in the peasantry's ranks. We do what we can to weed them out, investigate where proper. I couldn't, unfortunately, help you in this matter. Again, I think the headsman might be the best to answer this. Though, given he is a pious man, I'm led to believe he
certainly
might
is
not.
that.
He might not take it too kindly if you indicate that he fraternizes with someone of vile nature.
Indeed, I would not wish to trouble the headsman. I merely thought to mention the rumour, since I believe that the gentleman in question shares an acquaintance with myself, although I don't know him directly.
Is that so?
Indeed.
Well, now that you mention it, I don't remember the name, but I do remember that there was a fellow some years back who and I do not tolerate dissent or instability in my lands. But some years ago, there was a fellow, I believe, that they wanted to lynch or burn at the stake or some other such barbarous thing, and I would not permit it. But I believe they took a different route in the village and they drove him out. Do not recall the name, though. The story is always the same. Someone, such as myself, even, and so Gunther, don't take this personally. I do not mean to disparage your honor or your being, but I do know that you are being very careful when you lift the spoon. I take it you experience some difficulty in this area, perhaps some stiffness of the muscle. When
Indeed.
someone such as myself, with knowledge of things that the commoner does not have, it is a very short path to witch hunts, which that is, well, I have not, as I said, been at court of late. So, Lady Bryn, you probably do not know this of me, Winter. Perhaps you do. I am a man of knowledge. I'm a doctor by trade, a physician. So I know something about the sort of prejudice someone faces when they simply understand the world a bit more. They have read more, or at all. They are civilized, where the villagers toil about in the muck and are grateful for some gruel, and that is their whole world. And when someone thinks to check that the cows are well and not ill, suddenly there's a witch. So when I say someone was chased out some years ago, being accused of vile practices and unmentionable things, I wouldn't put too much stock in that. It is a base urge in man to be afraid of what he doesn't understand.
Indeed, you are absolutely correct, your lordship. It is a pleasure and a privilege to be dining and invited into the home of someone who has a more enlightened viewpoint. As you say, I've not met you previously, and I consider that to be a great loss on my behalf not to have done so. As someone who has also made a study of knowledges that the more common man is not privy to, I sympathise with what you are saying. It is the lot of the common man to fear that which they do not understand and attempt to destroy it or cast it out. However, we must seek surely to educate them to some extent.
Yes, though I do not teach as much. I have been practicing more than teaching for most of my life, and that continues to be so. Unfortunately, I do not believe it is in me to teach. Perhaps a loss to my fellow man, but
Indeed.
We are all what we are.
Quite. And as I've said, oh, sorry, my Lord Gunter, please.
I appreciate the Lord's concern for my health. The stiffness is mainly due to being attacked by a bear.
Oh, he puts down his wine glass and he turns to you like full attention, like, Gunther, my friend, my expertise with the corporeal, such as it is at your full disposal. A bear, you say?
A bear, my lord. Well, I was trying to educate your people on the treatment of their betters, as you have been speaking about, even though I understand their predicament. A bear that curiously was cold as ice and dead in the eyes, my lord. A most unnatural sight. I would not to offend you, my lord, but I can only speak the truth, as is a knight's duty.
Indeed, the creature seemed almost half dead by the time it attacked Sir Gunter.
That is where my stiffness comes from. Thankfully, I was able to fend the creature off, but
Were you wounded then, or is it muscle soreness only? His brow furrows.
Some superficial wounds. I was not correctly armored, but because of your people had tried to assault us in the middle of the night, I wasn't properly accoutrement for battle with a beast.
Was there
But
blood?
I did what I could.
Was there blood, Gunter?
I take a moment and sort of sit back on my chair. Do I know if there was blood? Did I actually get
you didn't you were not wounded as such, so no, not on your part anyway.
I look at Bryn with a kind of a note this, right? I do not believe so. I managed to get my breastplate on, and the bear's intentions were mainly in my torso. I managed to cut it a few times, and there didn't appear to be any blood, but I cut into its hide quite severely, I must admit.
Was there? He takes a little bit of time, and he starts like, was there? He furrows his brow, licks his lips, takes some more wine, and like dings the crystal glass, the ostentatious crystal glass, and dings it with like a dessert spoon. Lucas comes over, fills his goblet. He gestures to you, like, "Do you want more wine?"
Please.
I just sort of like hold the glass up and nod, and again I'll do the sort of like that.
When half measure. Yeah. So Lucas like fills everyone's glasses as they desire, and Lord Stravit takes a little bit more, and then continues. Was there? I presume you use a sword, Gunter.
A knight's right and proper weapon, yes.
I'm glad to hear it. Was there a mucus when you fought this bear? When you struck it with your sword, was there a mucus?
When I cleaned off the blade, because I did do that.
So when you cleaned it off, there was some of that black slobber that the like slavering maw was dripping on your blade as you, because you didn't like fully like slice it up for a like long period of time. You did get like a couple of stabs in, nothing happened, and then you were like struggling not to get your head like clawed off. But when you cleaned it up, there was some black mucus on it.
If it would please the Lord, I could show you.
What?
Well, I have the sword with me. I could show you what was on the blade. There is a residue.
Most certainly. Bring the sword forward.
So I put down my glass. I've still got my gloves off on the table. Pull the chair out. Draw my sword, kind of like, and then put it to like a kind of a neutral position, obviously, so I'm not looking like I'm going to attack my lord. Yeah.
Surprise, bitch!
I stroll over and kneel before the Lord, of course, put it across my knee, and see if you observe, my lord. I struck the beast in this direction. There is a small. I cleaned the blade, obviously, as I know proper treatment of a weapon, but there is a slight residue along the blade, like a line. I hadn't have chance to clean it with oils or things yet, as it was only a few hours ago.
He takes like one of those monogrammed kerchiefs and like wraps it around his two fingers, and he like slides it across the blade to get some of the residue that you're talking about, and it comes off like this light gray because there's not a lot of it on there anymore because you wiped it, but like he gets some of it, and he like looks at it, like holds it closer to like the candles on the table. Yeah, and his brow is like permanently furrowed, and
since we're like, I'm basically like seeing this like residue up close for the first time. With my knowledge of sorcery, and we're assuming this is some sort of magically animated beast. For right or wrong, that's what I'm assuming at the moment. would I know whether this sort of substance is it some sort of like sorcerous ectoplasm, or is it some sort of signs of like a magical working? Would the substance mean anything to me from a sorcerer's point of view?
The skill for this in your case would be alchemy, which you do have, but in order to get the information, you wouldn't have to like get the stuff and then test it.
Okay,
but there's you can do that with alchemy.
Okay, so what I'll do in which case I'll, as the Lord Stravit is sort of like taking his sample with his monogrammed handkerchief, I'll say in a soft voice, I'm sort of putting my glass down, I say, my lord, I do have some small skill in the alchemical arts, as I have said. If I can be of any assistance in analysing this substance, my skills, meagre though they are at your disposal.
I appreciate it, Lady Bryn. This well, I am ashamed to say it, but there's not a lot of this. Yeah, that's fine, Günther. So what does that look like now that we're looking at it?
So it's kind of looking at it, it looks like just like a plain sun motif, but when you actually look closely at it, it's actually like a serpent wrapped around a kind of a gemstone. But it's kind of like a gold finish to it. So obviously it looks kind of like yellow. But if you look at it, like the actual kind of like the waviness of the sun is actually a serpent wrapping around this stone.
Yep. So this is the pommel of Günther's sword as we examine it. So Lord Stravit like carefully folds up the handkerchief, puts it on the plate that he has, the bowl of empty bowl. He says, it ashames me to admit it, but this is not the first instance of this. If this is what I think it is, and I do, there's not a lot of it on your blade, Günther. But if you say there was more, I believe you. And
my Lord Günther, do you still have the cloth that you used to clean your sword? There may yet be the
I will do, of course. It'll be with my things that the boy brought in.
But perhaps that might avail you more, my Lord Stravit.
Well, if you produce the, I suppose like oiled cloth. Yeah, there's this like stark black like goop on it, and yeah, Stravit nods. Yes, this is the very same thing.
In the heat of the moment, I mistook it for blood.
Well, it is easy to do so when it is the dark of night, and I presume that Bear did not bring a torch. He
and I was
smiles
facing
a little
down
bit.
with the village at the same time.
I'll do that sort of thing where I do like a polite little laugh and take a
Ha ha ha!
yeah, like and then take a sip of my wine.
Very good. As I was saying, it ashames me to say that this is not the first time I've encountered this in my lands. Lady Bryn, you say that you have some skill in the alchemical arts. I myself am a doctor, as I have said. My domain is the body and the functions thereof.
Indeed.
I would consider it a personal favor if the both of you, because Günther, you've had some up close experience, one would say, with a creature that has this mucus in it, and Lady Bryn here is somewhat of an alchemist. I would consider it a personal favor if you would help me with this matter. And he looks like behind him to presumably check like if Lucas is like hovering somewhere there, but the kitchen door is closed. So he turns back to you, lowers his voice a little bit, and says, "There is something I would like to show you in the basement." And he said, says that like gravely.
Of Of course, my lord. Any help we can render would be the least thanks we could give for your generous hospitality and your kindness.
Of course. Will I be needing my blade, sir? This is dangerous.
I wouldn't think so, no. And be careful with the cloth.
Is it
He motions at
contagious?
that. I would not touch it.
Okay.
Which is why I asked if there was blood.
I'll reach over with because I'm still wearing my gloves.
I'm going to put my gloves back
So
on.
I'll reach over while Gunther's putting his gloves back on, and I'll basically just like fold the corners of the cloth in, so like it can be picked up by someone without touching the goo.
Yep.
But I'll be very, very delicate, like with the edges, so I don't want to get any on my
Yep.
gloves. Yeah.
Yep. So Lord Stravit gets up, straight into his clothes, and says, "If you will follow me."
Of course, please lead on, my lord.
So he let's get back to the map, where there's too many of these things open here. So we were in the dining room. So we're going through. Oh, we're actually going through the kitchen. So Tomasz and Lukasz have relocated. They are no longer in the kitchen because they've served the meal and they've filled your wine glasses a couple of times. So they will be available if there's a bell rung. But they have excused themselves into the servants' quarters or somewhere else in the manor. And Lord Stravit goes here to the kitchen door, looks in to check if they are there. Lukasz and Tomasz, they are not. So you proceed through here to the stairs down to the basement. Yep. Let's see. Whoop. Yep. You should now be on the basement map.
Yep.
So the stairs come down to the wine cellar. And let me get the description thing. Yep. So the wine cellar contains wine racks and an old broken wine press. There's a lot of presumably fine vintages because Lord Stravit has expressed that he likes the wines. So there's a whole bunch of wine down here, probably expensive. And also, just actually roll back a bit. In the before you went to the kitchen. Sorry, I entirely forgot about this. But before you entered the kitchen, Lord Stravit turned around and said, I must apologize. I entirely it passed beyond my mind with the revelation of this thing, Gunther, that you have potentially quelled a disturbing situation in Håkon, and Tomasz tells me that you did good, and I trust his word, and I apologize for the rudeness of almost having forgotten your reward for your good deed. And he digs into his pouch. Basically, he just detaches a pouch from his side, and it's a leather bag. He shakes it a bit. Sounds like coins. He hands it over to Gunther. It is a pouch of silver for your troubles, and a gesture from me that I reward good deeds on my land, and let no one say that Stravit does any different.
That's very kind of you, my lord.
So what that is one die. So the mechanical terms, 1d cash die. What that means is if you roll resources, you can use the pouch, the bag of silver, to add 1 dice to your resources roll.
Okay.
So, and that's a one-use thing.
Do I need to add that to my sheet?
Yeah, you just put it in your, let's see.
I'm not sure.
like an inventory.
Not totally sure how to navigate the sheet in its entirety.
Yeah, it is. You could put it in your gears, possession, and property, like at the very like lower portion.
Okay.
Yeah, just put it in there, like 1D cash.
Cash. Silver coins.
Yeah.
Now I have to make the biggest decision of the session. Do I bring the dog with me into this basement?
Yeah. Also, like if you wanted, they would definitely have brought something for Hans to eat.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. So probably a selection of
effectively
some
Hans is not he's not human, but he's still a charge of mine, so he's properly.
Yeah. So there's probably like the offal from the soup that they didn't put in the soup. So like game offal that like Hans gets a bowl of and has been chomping happily. So yeah, do you get Hans with you when you go down?
You know what? I'm gonna let him enjoy his meal.
Yeah. So he's staying by the fireplace again with his food. So yeah, Stravit handed you the pouch of silver and proceeds to lead you through the
I have
kitchen.
one other thing.
Yep.
Speaking, my lord, if I may, of
Mm-hmm.
deeds, there was an individual I encountered in the village, a blacksmith by
yes?
the name of Angbar. He is the leader of the dissidents there, and with your permission, I would like to resolve justice in the manner of what he did and the problems he caused.
Well, Bryn, if you were going to say something.
I was merely going to point out, my lord, that Sir Gunter speaks the truth. This blacksmith spoke with great anger and intimated that he had the intent to have both myself and Sir Gunter slain and use the blood on the fields in some sort of barbaric peasant ritual.
Stravit looks at you and like
I'll be doing like the mock horror sort of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Barbaric ritual.
He looks at you like, what? Like he did not expect this. Obvious, like he's playing that he is like.
Indeed, my lord. I did not wish to speak of it before and spoil such a pleasant meal with a learned personage such as yourself. It does not do to talk of such barbaric actions in around the dinner table in polite company. However, I feel in light of what Sir Gunter has told you, I must mention that this person did indeed suggest that this mob were to slay us and to use our blood to water their fields in the name of some sort of pagan deity, I believe, although I'm not an expert on such things.
Yeah. He says, and neither should we be. Günther, there are other blacksmiths. You're free to take this one.
It is not him who I wish to take, sir. In a form of justice, I've been taught in the courts that one should deal sternly but fairly. If this man believes that we do not have his best interests at heart, then I would like to teach him a lesson. And if he, by chance, has a son or a daughter, I would like to take her into my service as a squire or a page, so they will learn what we do, and then they can bring it back to the village and show.
That is much the same to me, Günther. You do as you see fit, with my blessing. You have my word.
Thank you, because you are, of course, word of law on these lands.
Naturally. Please. And he like opens up there's like one of those like diagonal doors to the actual stairs down. So he he opens up those and down the stairs to the wine cellar. Right. So wine racks and this old broken wine press.
Mm.
There's also the place is littered with other things, old linens, just sacks of stuff. There's barrels, chests of like odds and ends, this and that. He gestures towards the storage here, the storage room door. And he says, I would very much appreciate if you did not speak of this afterwards.
Of course.
And he like motions towards the door, like, please, after yourself. And I think he takes like another monogrammed kerchief and and this is because you've been quite close to him now because you've been walking. He smells of perfume quite strongly. He puts the kerchief in front of his nose.
I'll head in.
I will likewise
Lead
raise
from the
a
front
handkerchief.
as you do. Glory to the one.
Yeah, because you're a glory hound. You charge the door.
Does the door resist?
Yeah, the door savagely mauls you. No, so you head up to the storage room. It doesn't appear to be like there's a lock mechanism of some sort, but you get up there, you try it, and there's like a sort of like a thump at the door as you try to open it, as in like someone else is like, or something else is also like rankling with the door because you're trying to open it, and the door busts open. Let me give you a picture. The door busts open, and this is what you see.
Shit, son.
There are 5 individuals in there, ragged, commoner clothing, eyes, ears, mouth, kind of dribbling this black ichor. Behind you, you hear the slamming shut of the cellar doors that you just enter through.
So I presume Stravit shut us in, has he?
Yes, he skedaddled out with the quickness as soon as you were at the door. He was like, he up the stairs.
He betrayed us. Has he?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna quickly gesture for like before the door's all the way open. I'm gonna quickly gesture for like Gunter to like slam the door shut again.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
I'm gonna try and do my door trick again and like join the door to the frame.
Stick the door. So Gunter, here we go. So you need to be closing the door before they can like force themselves between the door so that you cannot close it. Mm-hmm. So let's see. Bring up the stats here. So you just hear this as these things start clawing at you. Let's see. I guess because it's they bust the lock, so it's more about like pushing at this point. So let's do a contested power roll. So they will push at the door to get it open, and you will push to get it closed enough for Bryn to like, do the magic trick.
So I'm gonna make a roll.
Yeah, you roll power, and you just like see how many successes you get.
Is there any way I can assist with this? Obviously,
Yes.
I'm putting my hands on the door, and I'm going to be getting like that as I'm chanting.
You can help with your power stat, so you give one of your power dice. If we were at the table, you give one of your dice to Matthew to roll. So Matthew, you can add 1 + 1 die to your thing from Bryn's help. And this
So-
this ties Bryn to the results of this roll. So whatever happens, it affects both of you.
Bye, die, bitch, you're dead.
What are the results going to be if we fail?
Yeah. So
no modifiers. Also, the one modifier.
plus one modifier from Bryn helping. And what happens if you fail is they will break the door. So the door will not be a door anymore. They will bust the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know I fought a bear literally a few hours ago? Like, I was still a little, you know.
I'm surprised you never mention it.
What's the obstacle? I guess.
Just leave it at one. We just want to see how many you get, and we will like compare that to the servants. 4. That is good. Let's see. These guys. Well, the thing is, there's 5 of them. So, where's my sheet? Oh, there we go. Power. So, one of these things has power 5 by itself. I'm just gonna say it's being helped by 1 because the door isn't like large, so
they can't get all the people.
Yeah, all of them cannot help at the same time because there's no space. So there's 2 at the door, one of which is like doing the main pushing, and the other one is just getting in. So they roll 6 all together. Let's see, power. Where did that go? Oh, there we go. So modifier 1. Oof. They yeah, Gunther, your chest pain kind of flares up, at least at like your like top like chest, because you're like slamming yourself against the door in a hurry because you're like nope, and it's like slam yourself into it, and you're like and you can hold it closed until they figure out something inside, which they will. Like this situation is not gonna be like this forever. You can hold it for now. They will figure out. Like they will just start like fucking punching the door to pieces.
It's going to evolve.
Yeah, it's going to evolve. But for now, you can hold it because you're like basically you're a doorstop now.
Ideas, Brent.
I'm not even going to respond. I'm already like muttering like the incantation. I'm running running my hands over the edge of the door, trying to bind this stuff together.
Yep. So binding is
obstacle 2.
Yep. So there we go. And that is a routine test. So your sorcery advances now.
No, I've still got 1 dot left to go. There's 5 dots. I've only got 4 filled in.
Yeah, but you need the first number there is the number you need.
Oh, so, right. Okay, I see.
So you need 4, and you just got the 4th one.
So my sorcery's gone up to 5, and I reset that.
Yeah, reset all the dots. Yep. So what happened right now is Bryn has used her sorcery in various levels of difficulty enough times to advance. Like Bryn gets 1 more sorcery now.
Does it have any effect that like I've already got like difficult at 3 and 3's listed?
No.
So that blanks out again now, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Great.
It's an extra thing that doesn't help you, but
cool.
Yeah. So you succeed, and that means binding. Where is it? Here we go. So binding. The sorcerer may use. You choose the door and the frame. And you could probably like pick because there's stuff there, so you could just pick like some like wooden pieces as well, and just like stick them on as you run your hands on the frame. Will exponent. Okay. Yeah. So your will is how much? 5. So the binding strength of your spell, which is successful. So you bind the door to the frame, the wooden frame, and like a couple of wooden bits that you like put together as you like scrambled. It is held together by power 5 binding. So when these servants inside start working against the door, they will be working against strength 5.
Do I have enough is it possible in the spell for me to also like meld the frame to the like the surrounding wall, or?
Maybe I think the wall might be. I'm gonna roll for if the wall is stone or not, because it's a cellar. Let's see. I'm gonna roll a die of fate.
Nice.
So 4, 5, 6. It's wood because that's good for you, and if not, then it's stone. It's wood. So yeah, you definitely you bind all of it, like everything that's wood. So the actual wall that separates the wine cellar from the storage room, that's bound to the frame. The frame is bound to the door and like a couple of pieces of wood.
And I presume I need to make a fort roll.
Yeah, for it. Obstacle 2.
Okay. No.
So 1 minus.
No.
So that means I'm on current tax is 4.
How much fort do you have left?
5.
Where is that? Here we go. Oh yeah, because you have 5 in your fort, but you have 4 tax, so you have 1 fort.
Yeah.
If you lose that, you will black out.
Yeah.
So
I imagine as I've sort of finished like doing this binding, I'm sort of like, I'm almost like falling to like my knees and like my hands still on the door, and in a very sort of panted, like almost pained, like out of breath voice, I say, "My lord, I've secured the door, but I don't know how much longer it or my strength will last. We need to be away from here."
Hold fast, Bryn. I'll get us out of here. I'll stride purposely to the door, the other door. Not I'm not going back in.
Yeah, you just like throws the door open. Fuck these zombies!
Come on,
charge in. Yeah. So you go where? Do you go for the door up into the manor or the door to the root cellar?
So 2 options.
Yeah. You can see on the map there. There's the root cellar, which that nothing's happened there. So presumably there might not be like creatures there.
I'll try into the main house first.
Yeah. So up the stairs then.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is locked.
Is it?
Yes. Yes.
Is it?
Is it? Yes, it is.
God.
It is locked.
I don't need Lockwise for this. Right. Okay.
Also, did you heed Stravit's words when he said he doesn't think you need your sword down here? Did you bring your sword?
I brought my sword up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I did bring it. It was more of a query, but I still brought it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to check, like, if you listen to it, like, okay, whoop. And
he didn't.
now,
the difference is he didn't command me not to bring it.
Yeah. Well, yep. This is
Different.
Legalese, and you're doing
right.
it. Mm-hmm.
But I'm also asked, so I had an idea of what we would expect, rather than what I was going to do when I knew I had that information. I'm a knight. I always bring my blade. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bryn, are you able to walk?
Yes, yes, my lord. I'm feeling extremely weak, but I think I can manage.
Right, I'll lead. Follow me, Bryn, and I'll lead him into the wine cellar. Is that where I am? Oh, the map's slightly too big. Okay.
You can zoom
I'll
out.
head to the root cellar. I'll head to the root cellar.
Okay. So the root cellar. I believe the root cellar door is open, but I will check quickly if I can.
Okay.
Yeah, it is not locked. So the root cellar is open, and there is no, like, if you throw it open, there's no creatures inside. It is a root cellar, and because this might be a thing, and I'll give it you for free because it's a thing you consider, of course, because you figured out that the top door was not going to open easily. At least you could probably barricade yourself and Bryn in the root cellar. However, like, does that help you? I don't know, but you could do that. You could do that, and the thing is, these creatures were in the storage room, and they broke the door when you approached the door.
My lord, we need to find some way out of here.
Yes, we do. Does your abilities have any capacity for cutting steel?
Alas, no. My abilities
It was
do
worth a
not
try.
extend that far. I can call items made of metal to me, but I fear that may not help us. I can call metal to me. I can summon light. I can protect myself, from the blows of an enemy. Though I fear not, it may not be possible in my weakened state. I can conjure small illusions and cause spirits to bring things to me as they bought your armour and helped you prepare, but that is the limit of my abilities at this stage, and I am somewhat weakened and fatigued by...
Could these spirits pick a lock?
I fear that would be beyond their capabilities. They are simple spirits used only for simple tasks, and I doubt even my ability to summon them. Like I say, I'm great. These magics, they take a great toll on me, my lord. I fear you may be forced to resort to more brutish methods to secure our exit from here.
That'll make a lot of noise, however. So if... Okay. I'm just having a look at my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bear with me, guys. Okay, what can I do in this crazy situation? I won't have brought all my weapons with me, will I?
Whilst Gunther's doing that, since we're in it's my instinct to try and cast Touch Not the Sublime Flesh on myself whenever I'm in danger, which imminent threat of zombies like busting through the wall. That's definitely covered it. I'm like, oh, I know if this spell fails, I'm probably going to pass out. However,
you crazy mother.
However, as Gunther's just pointed out, I don't really have any spells.
Don't do it, John.
I don't really have any spells that can actually help in this sort of situation. And like I say, it's my instinct that I'm like, oh, if these things come bursting through and they're overwhelm Gunther, I might have to get involved. So I need to protect myself. So I'm going to try and cast Touch Not the Sublime Flesh.
And this is before you do that, let's talk about instincts a bit. So John's character Bryn has an instinct called what was it, John?
Okay, my instinct says, when danger looms, protect myself with Touch Not the Sublime Flesh.
Yeah. So this is a spell that Bryn's instinct is set up to trigger whenever Bryn's feeling something's kicking off. I will cast this spell to protect myself. That's Bryn's instinct, and if John wants to, John can always say that whenever shit's kicking off, Bryn will be casting that spell because that's an instinct, and Bryn will be doing that immediately. But John doesn't have to do that. So in this instance, John can choose to, or could have already before have said that, oh, there's zombies, I'm going to cast this. He's not required to do that. If he wants to, it's a very good spell to cast. I'm not saying that. However, if Bryn fails this roll, Bryn might knock herself out, and then Gunther has a double problem here. But if Bryn gets it off, it's really good. However, it doesn't need to happen. Also, if Bryn now casts it because she's like, well, I'm in trouble. Whoop! I'm going to do what my instinct says, and knocks herself out. Bryn is going to get a reward point at the end of the session.
Of course, yeah.
The instinct caused problems. If Bryn lives, that is.
Yeah.
But Bryn's going to get rewarded if Bryn knocks herself out with this spell because it's the instinct of Bryn to do
John
that.
decides if he's going to do that.
Oh, I've already decided, my friend.
Can I have a quick bathroom break? Just 1 second.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll make the roll for that while you're having a bathroom
I'll be right
break.
back.
Yeah, we'll do sorcery while you're doing some maintenance.
Okay, yeah, so...
Yeah, sorcery, and then I believe Ob 3, was it?
It is Obstacle 3, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so... now, I'm probably going to spend Arthur on this. So I have to decide that before I roll, don't I?
No, you can do it after.
Okay, right, cool.
Yep.
It's a base obstacle with 3. Success.
There we go. Fucking 4 6s. Do we get? And yeah, it doesn't benefit from like extra stuff, but you ace this one. You absolutely ace this one.
I've still got to make the roll to stay conscious, though.
Yeah, you do. Yep. Okay, so let's go with the 4th.
Okay, it's not, now this is probably a roll I'm going to spend Arthur on if I found it.
Yeah, and this is going to be really rough because you have 1 die and you need 3.
Yeah, I know.
Successes. Do you want to use your persona? That will get you 2 dice, and if you get 6s, you can use your fate to get rerolls if you roll 6s. But that's gambling.
Yeah, do you know what? We're in that situation. I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend the persona. So how?
Add it on the
1. Do I?
Yeah, with the when it asks for you to like Arthur.
Yeah.
Put down 1 in that.
Okay, so Arthur 1. What's the base obstacle of this?
This is 3 because it's the spells obstacle.
Oh.
2 and a 1.
Oh.
It was not meant to be. So you cast the spell, but it's too much for you, and the dark.
Just I like pass out, and I'm like, that fucking spell was epic.
Yeah, like I fucking aced that one. Like I
beat me up, God.
Yeah.
It's alright. It's not like I've spent my persona points, so I can now like die or anything.
Yep. Too dumb. Take the wheel. Yeah. We'll hope that Gunther succeeds.
Pulls it out of the bag.
Yep.
So I believe in him.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is what happens in Burning Wheel.
See, I do quite like that as a mechanic because it's like it's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have no problems with like the sort of Vancian system in like D&D, the fire and forget. But it's nice to have something a bit different where I can keep casting the spells. And it's like if I'd succeeded at a few of my fort rolls earlier on, wouldn't be a thing. But obviously, because we've not had a chance to rest, we've just been like, on the go like constantly.
Yep.
It's just slowly like chipped away at me until like
fatigue.
We're in this situation where I'm like, I really need to pull it out of the bag, and it's just like the strain's just too much. I really like them.
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely, as we're playing this in the sort of sequence that they want, because it's very like strongly highlighted in the materials that no downtime at all. Like the pace keeps going, and when you're here, if you had like a proper fight with that bear, you could be in a really bad position.
Yeah.
Like Stravit could have like patched you up or something, like help you with the wounds immediately, but like you could have like serious penalties from being fucked up by the villagers even or the bear.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you guys handled all that, so you arrived in like peak physical condition, but then your fatigue was mental. Well, physical but like from a different source.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I really like that.
Yeah. And also, like this is the thing with sorcery. This form of sorcery, anyway. There's multiple types in Burning Wheel, but this form of sorcery, like if you roll well, you can just do your thing and be awesome. And your roll there, that was really good. And the fact is that your spell doesn't benefit from like extra successes.
Yeah.
But a whole bunch of them do. And you had 4 6s with 1 fate point. You could have re-rolled those and had a whole bunch of more. And that could have been a devastatingly powerful thing to just like pull out of your hat. But then with the 4th thing, because it's a downward slope.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because it does add like a nice little sort of like, I suppose, resource management-y sort of like tactical element to it where you have to sort of consider like, oh, do I want to spend this now? Do I save it for later? You know, what risks am I taking as opposed to like what benefit I'm going to get out of it?
Oh, also, because that roll was really bad.
Yep.
You actually get hurt, like physically. The strain is so great that it might give you some actual wound. Oh, here we go. If a sorcerer's fort is reduced below 0, so you had 1 and it's dropping by 3, so -2.
Yep.
His body is overloaded with the power of the spell. For each point his fort drops down below 0, he takes physical damage equal to the obstacle of the spell. This hurts you quite a bit.
Okay.
So, physical damage equal to the obstacle of the spell in pips.
So
Multiple dice
5.
are lost. Pips are cumulative. Okay. Let's see. There's an example. Oh shit. Okay. So what this means is because you're 2 below 0 now.
Yep.
And the obstacle is 3 for this touch not sublime flesh spell. You take a B6 wound from this.
So I'll tick the top box on B6.
Yeah. Which is, fortunately for you, because you have a quite high constitution as a result of needing to, because you're a magician.
Yeah.
You are required to be of quite stern stock to withstand the eldritch power. It goes into, because it's not any of the specific types, because it's right between light and midi. It goes to the left, so it goes into a light wound. You have a light wound now.
So why does it go to the left? Sorry.
Because there's no specific wound in that coordinate for you. If you look at the very top on tolerance,
yeah,
the top row, there's BR, which I think is like bruised or whatever, which is basically like an empty, like that doesn't mean anything. And then you have on the third column, you have SU, which is superficial.
Okay, yeah.
Then 4 is bruised again, that doesn't do anything. And then you have light in B5 and bruised again in B6. So if you hit one of those empty columns, it goes to the leftmost, like the next left thing. So you get a B6, but there's nothing there for you, so it goes to B5, which is the effect column for you here. So you have a 1 die penalty. So if you like become conscious, like maybe rest a bit, you will have a 1 die penalty to everything, and the sheet calculates that because it's smart like that.
So I'm gonna just like describe it for Matthew. So as you're sort of like trying to figure a way out, you turn around, you hear Bryn sort of chanting these arcane words, and as she does so, briefly, like what appear to be like symbols appear over her skin, like sort of runes that are like glowing like really brightly. She turns around to you and she says, "Oh, good. This should help defend us more against. Should help make it easier for me to protect myself against it." And then she basically goes like, and like blood runs out of her nose and she just like collapses forward into your arms, unconscious.
Yep, she's out. What do you do, Günther? You have 5 zombies behind a no longer bound door, which they are now barreling against. You have 1 unconscious Bryn in your arms. You have 1 locked door into the manor, and 1 root cellar door, which is open, and you could barricade yourself into it. What do you do? You have your sword as well.
I have my sword.
And my axe.
And a can-do attitude. When I was coming into the cellar, how sturdy did that door seem?
The one that Stravit locked?
Yeah.
You saw a latch, which is probably the main reason is it's going to be difficult. Like there's a bar.
Yeah.
It's not a super tough thing, but they probably use the bar, so it's gonna be not easy.
Right. If we stay down here, we're dead, barricaded or not.
That is very likely. Though, like you could definitely buy time with the barricades. You think?
However, it's not just that. If I'm stuck down here, whatever's going on in this town is going to continue. My father lives in this town. My family's here. He could be.
One of the things that comes to mind now, to me, and I'm going to say this to you as a player, that if you barricade yourself in there and you survive there for a while, eventually Bryn is going to wake up. Like if you spend enough time there,
Yeah.
Bryn will recover from her arcane fatigue.
But I don't know that. I don't know that.
Yeah, you don't know what happened. You saw Bryn being all eldritch and then and pass out.
All right, so I don't have any idea how much time I actually have.
No, though the door is not going to last too long now that Bryn is gone and the binding fades as she loses consciousness. So the door behind which are the zombies, that's not going to last very long.
Roots, I could barricade. There's no way out of the root cellar.
You don't think so? No, it's a root cellar. There's no like priest.
I'm a glory hound. I stride forward. I don't hide. So I'm gonna draw my sword, stride to the big door.
Big door meaning
the stairs, the cellar door.
The door to the manor.
And try and get my sword through the gap and get it open.
Cool. So you're gonna try and open that. Let me see.
I'm gonna drag. I don't know how long. I'm gonna drag Broom with me.
Yeah. It's one of those where like you're half in armor because your breastplate is ruined. You're half in armor. You're pulling Bryn up with one arm, and like going up we're like crab walking up the stairs, the rickety stairs, and getting out your sword in the cramped space, and like like trying to figure it out in the between the cellar.
See if it's against the wall, I'll put Bryn down next to the wall to give me some space, enough space where I can move my blade.
Yep.
Obviously, I look knightly as fuck, but no but the gods can see me now, and and I'll try and get my thing in there.
Yep.
And I'll use all the dice.
It's going to be a power test against the door.
I know how strong the door is.
Yes, well, we know now because you're trying to do it. So it's an obstacle 5 to get it open. Right. It's a power test, and you're going to get a bonus die from using your sword to do this.
Okay.
And if you can figure out other advantages, we can talk about that. And also, if you want to spend your persona die, persona points.
I was getting to that. Don't you worry.
You can get you can put like 1 in the Artha when it asks before you roll.
Yeah, I'm using that. This is exactly what I would do. I'm a knight. So I'm going to.
I'm a knight. This is what I do. I break cellar doors with my sword. Yep.
Okay.
Legit. So do you have any other skills you could fork into destroying cellar doors with your sword?
Skills, paying the bills. Rolling, maybe.
That is, I could go for brawling, and this is like the technique.
Body strength. I've got
but you're using your power anyway. Because we're using power, so you're not forking your brawling thing there. Cool. So so you get +1 die from using your sword. You're rolling your power stat.
Yeah.
And then if you want to, you can put 1 in the Artha if it asks you if you want to use your persona point.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. That's all.
And then if you can explain any other circumstantial advantages that you have, which I don't know that you do, but maybe you do.
There's nothing here. There's nothing here I can use to help me in the room.
Your best help, as you've correctly surmised, is your sword. At the moment, but if you can think of anything else, we can talk about that.
This would be anything on my skills, anything on my stats. I can't talk the door down.
Negotiate with the door.
Okay. Maybe I could use. Okay. I have a knife with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not locked, is it? It's just got a thing over it, hasn't it?
You don't know really. You didn't see it that well, but you know it has a bar.
Does John have? Sorry, does Bryn have anything on her, like on a person? So what's her equipment? Anything useful?
Okay, well, on my person, I have the following. Let me just bring up my list.
It's not a lot.
Yeah, I don't have a great deal. I think it's pretty much just like my staff and like my robes and.
Yeah, it's right above your spells, the one line.
Ah, yeah. So I've got a fine robe on, wearing a pair of shoes and a wizard's staff.
That's it.
You could potentially use the staff as like leverage or something.
That's what I was
it's like
thinking.
a big
Maybe
it's like a big staff.
Yeah, I'm willing to go for that. It's a wizard staff. So
yeah, I'll use that as leverage to give me some extra.
yeah. So basically, what's going on is you've dragged Bryn. She's against the wine cellar wall, and you're going at this cellar door with the wizard staff and the sword, kind of like a basement version of Gandalf. you're using like brute force.
So I'm using the staff to create pressure, and then I'm putting my sword in to then apply that pressure.
Yeah. Cool. So you can get 2 advantage dice for risking both the staff and your sword in this endeavor.
Oh, sure.
And well, the thing is, if you don't succeed, you cannot open with your strength. So you need to figure something else out.
So.
And also the zombies will break down the door.
So I've got 2 modifier.
Yeah, and then 1 Artha if you want to use your 1 persona point.
Yes.
And 2 for the modifier thing.
The obstacle is 5.
Yes.
Hold on to your butts. Oh, modifiers.
You have 2 6s, which if you want to spend one of your fate points, you can re-roll 2 dice.
Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah. So I can reroll 2 of the dice.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to do 1 at a time.
Suspense. You got it.
I got it. So I only need to. So it counts as being spent.
Yeah, because you rerolled. You just don't need any more successes. Okay. So yeah, you force it open. And you can mark yourself a difficult power test.
Okay.
For your troubles. So what happens is your sword is dulled, and Bryn's staff is looking kind of wonky from your efforts.
A bit, but nothing.
Yeah. What that means is you're at +1 obstacle if you use your sword, because it's not that sharp anymore because you ground it up against the door and the bar. But you burst the bar. You burst open from the cellar. Victorious. And presumably like drag Bryn the F into the kitchen.
So my first instinct is drag Bryn out, then shut the door again. If I can find like a candle, like, staff or something to put like.
Yeah, you have Bryn's staff at hand.
I'm not using Bryn's staff because I know she needs that. I've seen her use it. I know if I could find something that metal, the staff will break a lot easier than metal.
Yeah, well, you're in the kitchen, so yeah, definitely. You can find like a pan or 2. Yeah, stick them in there.
I'm gonna drag Bryn into the kitchen, and if nobody's reacted, I'm gonna try and get like a smelling salt or something. Try and wake her up, like see if she's
Okay, so that would be a roll.
Now the immediate danger is over with.
Yeah. It is indeed not immediate anymore. Let me just check, because you're going for herbalism, I think. Yeah. So you do not have herbalism because you're a knight.
This is true.
And you're trying to cook up something in the kitchen. So it's based on perception. So on your sheet, and let me go onto your sheet here. So down below, at the bottom of your current page, you have a segment called learning, being learned. Sorry.
Yep.
So I'll add here herbalism.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because
there we go. So it's based on perception, and you can roll it from there, and it will do the thing.
it's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going to be difficult. Going to refer to herbalism here. It's going to be quite difficult because Bryn's exhaustion isn't earthly. Let's see.
Unfortunately, I'm not aware of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's go with 3 to like get something going. Let's say it's if you succeed, you're gonna, because your intent is like get Bryn up, right?
Yeah, get her awake.
Yeah. So
not
Bryn,
necessarily healthy, but wake her up. So
yeah,
she can do
I'm
something.
gonna say like Bryn can get to like back up to 1/4 if you succeed at this. Like lessen the tax to 1/4 temporarily.
Okay.
It's not gonna take the tax away, but we're temporarily it is gonna do that, so that Bryn can be awake.
That's for any additional complications on the roll. Is that
Additional complication? Let me see.
Yeah.
So input value. So you ask for modifiers first, and then Arthur, and then base obstacle, and you put 3 there.
So I'm doing it from the sheet part. The bit you added.
Yeah.
So I click that.
Yeah, the herbalism.
Modifier 0, Arthur 0, base obstacle 3.
Yeah.
Click that, and it said additional complications.
If you can leave it blank, just do that.
Sure. Man.
You have 1/6. If you think you can roll 3 more with 1 die, if you can roll 3 more 6s in succession.
I think I realized that it's just beyond my knowledge at that point to like.
Yeah. So you do not know. You're not able to wake Bryn up with whatever's in the kitchen.
So.
Yeah. What do you do? There's no one else in the kitchen.
So the thing is that Lord Stravit's intentions are somewhat murky, but the fact that he rewarded
you could say
me,
mucus.
He gave us lots of information, then rewarded me, and then seemingly betrayed us both. So, in terms of knightly etiquette, the rules on this are not quite clear. However, I can't go and face him. I know this on my own because I leave Bryn at the mercy of whoever encounters her. I would not leave a companion. So, can you lock the kitchen doors? Are they lockable?
I don't think so. There's no reason for them to be that.
Okay.
I guess.
Is there like in the kitchen? Oh, is there does the basement lead up into the